Hi friends, welcome to QApedia and this is our blog qapedia.com. Today the topic that we are going to cover is JavaScript tutorial map, filter and reduce. So map, filter and reduce are methods in JavaScript, and the subtopics that we will cover are: what is map, reduce and filter, what is map, comparison between map and for each, what is filter method, comparison between map and filter, reduce method, what is reduce, and then summary of the session. So what is map, reduce and filter? Map, filter and reduce are higher order methods for arrays. Now higher order methods or higher order functions, and these are higher order functions for arrays. Now what is higher order methods or higher order functions? So higher order methods are the ones which takes one or more functions as an argument. Okay. Now we can pass function as an argument to the higher order function when we call it, and when the function definition is written separately. Okay, so when the function definition is written separately, in that case also we can pass a function as an argument to the higher order function while calling it, or we can even pass an anonymous function to the higher order function when we call it. So while calling it, we can pass an anonymous function also to the higher order function. Now if we are passing anonymous function, then what we need to do, we will have to write the definition, the function body inside the argument. So whenever we are passing an anonymous function as an argument, then we need to write the function body inside the argument. Now these methods are very useful. These methods will save a lots of time for us, and these are modern JavaScript methods. Okay, so first of all, let's see what is map. So let's understand maps first. So we had discussed about for each method or for each loop in one of our previous session, and we had seen that for each loop takes value as an argument and we can print that particular value, and we can do the same thing with map as well. So let's see it with an example. So we are going to see an example with for each method and with map method. Okay, so let's see the example and then understand what is map and what is for each. We already understood. Let's understand map as well. Okay, so let's see, we have an array constant item and we will perform some operation on that. Okay, so let's write it there. We'll just copy it. We can write this also, it's not a problem. I just copied it. We can write it also. Then what will we do, we'll print that items of the array. Console.log original array is, and all those items we will print. So we can print it. I will print it. Console.log original, yeah, that's it. Then what will we do, we will use I will write one more statement, console.log elements from original array is using for each. So using for each loop. So what we are doing, we are using a for each loop. So let's use for each loop and then print all the elements of that particular array. Okay, how can we use that for each loop? What is our array? It is items. So let's copy this items dot, we can call here for each method. So for each, and inside this for each loop we will have to, inside this for each loop we will have to write a function, an anonymous function. How can we write an anonymous function? We'll use function keyword. This is our function keyword, and then we will pass our we will use a parenthesis, and inside this parenthesis we will have to pass some argument. So what we'll do, we'll pass some argument, we'll pass an element. Okay, and then that's it. Okay, so this is how our for each function will be called. So in this for each function, what we are doing, we are calling an anonymous, sorry, yeah, in this for each function we are writing an anonymous function. Okay, now if suppose I will have to print all the values of this array, we can print it. Yeah, this is the original array and these are all the elements of the array. So we'll do one thing, we'll write one statement before this. Now if you want we can run it. So elements from original array is using for each loop and then all these elements will be printed. So if I want I can print the square of these elements also. I'll just write ele into ele and I'll write here square of all the elements, square of all the elements from the original array is using for each loop, and then if suppose I will print it, then this is our original array and then this is our statement and then this is the square. Like for 3 square is 9, 2 square is 4 and 5 square is 25, 6 square is 36, 8 square is 64 and 9 square is 81. Now we can do the same thing using map also. Okay, so let's do that. So we'll write one statement here, console.log square of all the elements from original array is using map method. Okay, and what will we do? What is our array? This is our array, so we'll just copy it, items dot map. So we have written. Now we will have to write an anonymous function there. Okay, so we will write our anonymous function and then this is our anonymous function. Inside this we have to pass one element and that's it. This is how the same definition which we have written here, the same definition has come here also. There is no difference in the definition. We will have to, we can put the semicolon or we can leave it, it's not a problem. Okay, and yeah, that's it. And now if suppose I will run it, then yes, it is printing the same thing, right? So the same thing which we can do using for each loop, we can do it using map method also. Now you might ask a question that if for each and map method are doing the same thing, then why do we need a map method when we already have a for each method? Okay, it is doing the same thing. Okay, so why do we need a map method? So for understanding that, we'll do one thing, we will let I will see one more example. Okay, so in this example what we are going to do, we will not print the values, we will return the values. Okay, so let's return the value, and same way we will return the value in map function also. Okay, now we can remove this statement and we can remove this statement as well. Now this particular function is returning some value, so we will have to store that value somewhere. We'll do one thing, we'll store that value here. Okay, constant, and we'll write here new arr for each is equals to this. Okay, and same thing we can do here. We'll write it here because this is also returning, and here we'll write map. Okay, like this we will write, and then we will do one thing, we will print this value. Okay, square of the original array using for each is new array for each. Okay, now let's print the same statement. Let's see what's happening. Okay, yeah, great. So here also it is printing this, and yeah, done. So let's print it. Let's run it now. Okay, so this is our original array which we have printed here. Original array is this. Then what we have done, we have run a for each loop, and we are returning some values, and we are storing it in some new array. We are trying to store it in some new array, and then we are printing that particular array. So we have written a statement that square of the original array using for each is square of the original array using for each is undefined. Okay, so for each loop will not return anything. For each method will return undefined. Now let's say with map, when we are writing the same definition using map, square of the original array using map is this. It is returning the square of the all the elements, and it is returning a new array. So map method will return a new array, but for each will return undefined, and that's why we are using map even when we are having for each. So for each does not return anything. So we can clearly see from the results of above code that the return type of for each method is undefined, but the return type of the map is array. So this is the basic difference between for each and map method. For each loop can take value, index and array also as an argument, and same way map also can take value, index and array as an argument. So let's see it with an example. We have already seen example where we are passing value as an argument to our for each and map method. Now let's see the examples where we pass index and array as well in the as an argument. One thing that we should note is that value is a mandatory argument for each and map method, but index and array are optional arguments. So if we don't pass index and array, then also it is going to work. So this particular example which we have seen just now, we are passing ele, this is value, we are passing here ele, this is also a value as an argument. Now we can pass index also, and we can pass an array also. Okay, we can pass. So the first argument which a map method or for each method takes, it is a value, and then second index which it takes, it is an index. So we'll write here I. Then third index which it takes, it is array, arr. Okay, and let's do one thing, let's print it. Okay, simply print it. Let's print index as well, and then let's print array as well. Okay, and same thing we'll do with map as well. Okay, now let's print it. This is our original array which we are printing here, and then because it will run for 6 times, so it is running 6 times. The first item is 3, then index is 0 here, and then entire array it is printing. Okay, then second item is 2, index is 1 for that, and then entire array it is printing. That's what we have written here. First it will print the element, then it will print the index, and then it will print the entire array. Same thing will happen for map function as well. This is how it will work when we pass index, element, array and index. If suppose you will remove it, then also nothing will happen. Our map function and for each functions are going to work. So these indexes, these two arguments are optional arguments. We don't need to pass it always. It's not mandatory argument. We can simply avoid it also. Okay, so it's passing 3 2 5 6 8 9 and then 3 2 5 6 8 9. We can write here ELE plus ELE, and here we can do ELE multiplied by ELE, some option, something I'm doing randomly. So here it is passing ELE plus ELE, and here it is passing ELE into ELE. 6 4 10 and 9 4 and 25, like this. So like this our map and for each functions will work. Then yeah, the map and for each are done. Now let's see the comparison between map and for each. So map and for each both are functions. Map will create a new array, but for each does not create any array. Map returns a new array, but for each does not return anything. The length of the new array created by the map method will be equal to the length of the original array. Okay, and map and for each function does not modify the original array. So this is the comparison between map and for each. Now let's see filter method. Okay, so filter method is also a type of higher order array method, and it returns array same like map method, but there are some differences between a filter method and a map method. Okay, so when we use a map method, then we can perform any operation like arithmetic operation, comparison operation on the elements of the array, and then whatever is the result of those operation, that particular result will be returned to us. Okay, and a new array will be created with those particular results, and the length of the new array created by the map method will be equal to the length of the original array. Okay, but when we use a filter method, then we can perform only comparison operations on the elements, and then it is going to return those elements only for which the result is true. Okay, so filter method will result only those elements for which the result is true. Now let's see it with an example. And the length of the new array created by the filter method will be either less than or equal to the length of the original array. Now let's take an array and then let's see it with an example. Okay, so let's do one thing, that we will write here. So first of all, what we'll do, we'll use our map function, or in this map function we will try to return some value, return ELE is greater than 5. Okay, and then we will do one thing, we will just print this particular new array map. Okay, and now we will run our filter method. Okay, so constant new r filter, we'll write it here, and then we'll write here items dot, and filter method will come filter, and then here we will type a function, and in that function we'll pass an element. Okay, and then that's it. So like this. Yeah, yeah, same thing, return element is greater than 5, and then what will we do, we'll write here console.log, and yeah, done. This is how we are going to write our map method, and then this is how we are going to write our filter method. Now let's see it very carefully and we'll understand the difference between both. So this is our original array. Then we have a new array from map method. What are we doing? So new array from map method is, it is showing false here. Why? So first of all, what will happen? Which element will be passed? This element will be passed, and then 3 will be compared with 5. 3 is greater than 5. No, it is not. So it will return false. So this is going to return false. So here false will be printed in our new array. Then again 2 will be passed here as an element, and then it will compare 2 is greater than 5. No, it is false. So again false will be printed in our new array. And wherever our element is greater than 5, it will print as true. Wherever our element is less than 5, it will print false. Okay, so that is what map function is doing. So that's what we have written here, that when we use a map method, then we can perform any operation like arithmetic or comparison operation, and whatever is the result of the operation, that result of the operation will be returned, and a new array will be created with those particular results. Okay, and the length of the new array created by the map method will be equal to the length of the original array. So if you see here, original array length is 6, 6 elements are there, and then new array length is also 6 because 6 elements are there, and everywhere we have the result of our operation. Then comes our filter method. In case of filter method also, we have run the same operation, return element greater than 5. So what has happened? We can see our new array is like 6, 8, 9. Now this is somewhat weird, right? So what is happening here? Wherever our element is greater than 5, so this filter method is returning only those elements. So wherever the result is true, only those elements are being returned, and wherever our results are false, then nothing is returned by our filter method. And that's why this is what our new array from filter method is like this. And you can see how many elements are there, 3 elements. So the length of this array is 3, and that's what we have written, that when we use a filter method, then we can perform only comparison operations on the element, and this filter method will return those elements only for which the result is true, and the length of the new array created by the filter method will be either less than or equal to the length of the original array. So it can be less than or equal to. So in our case it is less than, it cannot be greater than or something. So that's how our filter method works. If we want, we can print the length also of the array using the length operator. I'm not doing it, you can do it yourself. So this is how our filter method works. Now let's see the comparison between map and filter method. So we can perform any operation, arithmetic or comparison, on the elements of the array using map method, but filter method allows only comparison operations on the element. Then our the length of the new array created by the filter method will be either less than or equal to the length of the original array, but the length of the new array created by the map method will be equal to the length of the original array. And then map and filter both do not modify the original array. Okay, so that's how our map and filter method can be compared. Now let's see reduce method. Okay, now reduce is also one higher order method for arrays which returns a single value. Now you have to be very careful. It does not return an array, it returns a single value. Okay, let's see how reduce method works. So this is our array. Okay, we will print a statement. This is our original array, and then we will do some operation here. Okay, we will run our reduce method. Okay, and let's do it now. It returns a value, so new val reduce, and we can write So we have used a reduce method. Reduce method will take two parameters, okay, and what we are doing, we are adding those two parameters here, those two values here, and we are returning the sum of those two. Now you might ask, what are these two parameters? Okay, so first time when we run this function, that time the first value of the array and the second value of the array will be passed as a parameter. So 3 and 2 will be passed. So 3 plus 2 will be returned. So it will be 5. Second time, whatever is the result, like 5 is the result, so 5 will be passed here, and then 5 plus, and then here 5 will be passed from the result, and then 5 will be passed here from this second element. So 5 plus 5 will be 10. Then 10 is the result, so 10 will be passed here even, and then 6, which is the third element, 6 will be passed here. So 10 plus 6 will be returned. So 10 plus 6 is 16. Then 16 will be passed here, and then 8 will be passed here. 8 will be passed here. 16 plus 8, 24. Then 24 is the result, and then 24 will be passed as E1, and then 9 will be passed as E2. So 24 plus 9, 33 should be the result of this particular method. So let's run it. Uh, let's see what's the problem. Newer map. Oh, sorry. Not newer map, newer reduce. Yeah, so new value from reduce method is 33. What we can do, we can write it like something like this: sum of array, and we'll pass it here, and then we can run. So like this it will run here. So that's how our reduce method works. Okay. So what does reduce method? The reduce method will return some value. Okay, and it does not modify our existing array. Reduce method does not return any array, and reduce method will take at least two values as an argument. Now what is the summary of the session? So the topics that we have covered in this session are map function, comparison between map and forEach function, filter function, comparison between map and filter function, and then reduce function. These are the topics that we have covered in this session. Now, thank you guys. That's it in this session. Thank you very much.